you very much. Alrighty, today is May 8th, 2024, and this is our special work session. I would like to invite everybody to stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, hope everybody's doing well today. I believe we have somebody joining us from the Muslim faith today. Would you like to come forward and do the blessing, please?
Thank you, Judge. I am here to introduce Adil Maula. He basically is going to offer the prayer.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start by introducing myself, and then I'll get into the prayer. My name is Adil Mola, and I'm currently a senior at Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School, and I plan to go to the University of South Florida starting this fall semester. I was born and raised in Frankfort, Kentucky, and today I have the privilege of representing the Islamic Center of Frankfort. So as we gather today in this courtroom, I'd first like to remind everyone of our purpose for being here. It's not a trivial matter, rather it's fundamental to our very existence. We are called by the Almighty to uphold justice without bias or discrimination in Franklin County in the name of divine guidance at all times. We pray to the Almighty, nourisher and provider of all things, our protector and shield, to defend us from all evil, and to fill our hearts with the expectation that good things are on the horizon. May we, individually and collectively, look to God as our ultimate hope and our champion. Give us faith in place of despair and resilience in place of resignation. We implore the Almighty to safeguard our courts from injustice and to bless this land as a place where all can thrive and build a better future, both in this lifetime and the hereafter. We seek divine protection against oppression and guidance from the most wise to preserve the integrity of this country. May justice triumph over wrongdoing, and may our nation shine as a beacon of goodness, inspiring virtue and deterring evil. May our actions always be guided by consciousness of divine presence rather than greed for supporting our self-image. We pray for the safety of those who serve us, including law enforcement officers, firefighters, doctors, and all others. May divine mercy reach those in need among us, providing sustenance to the hungry, healing to the sick, and support to the needy. We invoke peace upon the righteous who came before us, including the esteemed prophets and messengers such as Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, Noah, and Abraham, who exemplified righteousness and patience. Finally, we ask the Almighty to let us not be afraid and to stand firmly for that which is right. In doing so, we ask for peace in the Middle East. The final sentiment of all this being that all praise belongs to the Lord of the worlds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, I'd like to ask Duke to come forward, Road Super. Duke, how you doing there? Oh, yes.
Doing well. How y'all doing?
Good, good, good.
Just like to give you a little report on what the crews have been doing last couple of weeks. As everyone knows, we had the county cleanup on the 28th. I was off, but from what I've been told, it went really well, so that's a good thing. We've had...
Hey, Duke.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Judge.
You're fine,
Thank
go
you.
ahead. Yeah.
So I reached out to our solid waste coordinator, and they shared that 40 dumpsters were filled up. So that's 40 dumpsters that didn't go into the landfill. And then they pulled out scrap. I know at Evergreen there were 8 dumpsters filled, and there were 2 dump trucks there that had scrap, and then a lot of scrap around that. So the plus is Franklin County took advantage of that, and it's fantastic when we can do those things that keep it off the side of the road and keep it out of the landfill.
Yep, absolutely.
And then we've had culvert crews out in various parts of the county. Been working out Dove Creek some, doing some work on it as it'll get paved sometime in June. Got a mowing crew out, I think Peaks Mill area right now. Been doing a little roadside spraying in various parts of the county. Just had a crew up the park getting a horse arena ready. It looks good. So everything there's hopefully getting ready for Friday.
Yeah, that's good.
As far as the road department facility, I think Andrew's got some pictures, but last week they demoed the old lunchroom and storage building there, as well as what was left of the salt barn, the old salt barn. So things are looking up down there. I think they're working on the water line, the new service to the garage, new shop, as well as the force main for the sewer. So
Yeah.
they'll be coming through the parking lot. I think they're going to start tomorrow cutting through the parking lot, so we'll have to work around a little obstacle there, but it's going good.
It's a good problem to have, right?
Yes, sir.
Finally getting some headway down there. Thank you very much. All right, what questions does the court have for Duke? Squire Wisman.
Judge, just more of a comment. On the cleanup day, we had a lot of questions about tires. We had quite a few dropped off at locations, even though they were requested not to be. Just a reminder for everyone that may be watching in the county that we will have a scrap tire drive cleanup in the fall. Duke and I talked about it yesterday. So anyone that has still got those sitting around, we'll have that option later this year. So we'll have more out about that, but I know I had about 15 dropped off at one of my locations that we had to do something with. So,
Squire Tanner.
Duke and I met and looked at some problems that was related to a piece of property that we own, that nobody knew we owned, except maybe whoever mowed it. And this lady kept saying the county mowed it, but I didn't know we even did anything to it.
I'm not so
But
sure.
anyway, I think during this conversation with Jack, I don't know where Jack's still here, that we were going to try to find out how much more property the county may own here and there that we don't know that we own. This is about a fourth of an acre across from the gift box, and the state owns a piece of that also, and all of a sudden it's confusing on who's supposed to do what, and I have no idea why the county owns that property at all. But I asked the lady would she want it, if we could get it or give it to them, and they said no, they did not want it. Not that I was trying to give away county property, but I mean, it's just there, and it's not going anywhere. But I appreciate you coming out and looking at that, and I think the county has done some work there before, ditched through there, and who knows when, but it was done.
Okay. Duke, any word on the new mow trim? I know we kind of ask you that all the
We
time.
hadn't had an update in a couple of months. I can try to call and get one, but, the last we heard was possibly the end of June, most likely sometime in July.
Okay. All right.
Sooner the better we can get this done.
Yeah. Any other questions for Duke?
No one more comment, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Squire. I don't mind. Go ahead.
We count on the road department for everything. What we met with them, what we met with you, met with that lady down there, thank you for doing that. Thank you
sir.
very much. That's not a road. It's not a drainage problem. It's just a problem. And we treat the road department like they're the National Guard of the county. Every time we need something, that's who we call to do it. And we should never forget that and make sure there are amply personnel out there that can do about anything, because we sure call on them a lot. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Squire. Absolutely. Duke, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and start the judge's report. It's been pretty busy. First, I'd like to say I think everyone realizes that we have a new person sitting in the 4th District seat, and we had Squire Scotty Tracy leave us. But it was for a good reason, and I gave the governor grief. The governor hired him to be part of his team, so Scotty's working at the Public Protection Cabinet. So we want to say thank you. He has served since January 2015, and I know it was a tough decision for him. As much as he bickered with all of us, he loved this job, and he really didn't want to give it up, but that's just part of the thing you have to do when you go work for the governor. So we just want to say thank you to Scotty Tracy and all your time served, and you did a lot of good for our community. So, and next we're excited to introduce Squire Mike Harrod. So there he is right there. You see him sitting next to Squire Tanner. I appreciate the governor for appointing Mike on May 1st. Just a little bit about Mike. He began his career in the United States Army and served from 1987 through 1991, and is also a Gulf War veteran, so we thank you for your service, Mike. He then returned to Frankfort and worked for Bendix Corporation for 11 years until he joined the Franklin County Fire Department, where he served 20 years as a public servant for us right here. So he currently owns Harrod Lawn and Landscape in Frankfort and has been in business for 33 years. So Squire Harrod, welcome to the Fiscal Court and to your first meeting. And if you turn your mic on there, you could say a few words. You got it. Red light's on. Yeah.
First, I want to thank the governor for having the confidence in me to accept this job and do the job that needs to be done. I want to thank you and a lot of people in the court that have taken me right in, shown me what I need to do, where I need to be, and been a wealth of information, so I appreciate it.
Oh, good. Well, we appreciate you being with us. Alrighty, moving on, we've had some committee meetings since our last fiscal court meeting. Administrative Services met on May 1. We kind of discussed the planning and zoning director vacancy as well as admin code about revisions being made and things like that. So this time I want to thank Squire Tanner and Squire Sebastian for serving on that committee. We have a lot of work ahead of us. But I also want to take this opportunity to publicly introduce our new Human Resource Director, Ashley Case. So she will be working on this with us closely. So I would like to ask Ashley to come forward to the podium. And we want to welcome you to your first fiscal court meeting also. And if you'd like to kind of tell everybody anything, or the viewers, the mic's yours.
Well, first off, I'm really excited to be here. I knew from day one when I walked in to have an interview that this was a kind of a neat culture here and a positive culture, and that's always kind of something you feel when you walk in the first day. And then just my time here the past couple weeks has proven that to be very true. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And looking forward to a lot of neat things that we can do and projects to work on, and excited to be a part of that. And I've met several of you already, and I hope to maybe spend some time with you all at our employee appreciation event tomorrow. So that should be really exciting with Scott Harvey. So if you all want to chat more about anything, come seek me out, and would love to get to know each of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashley. Welcome. On May 1, we had an Emergency Services Committee meeting. We talked about actor-shooter training for all county offices, which will be coordinated through the Sheriff's Office, and Ashley will be working on kind of scheduling that with all department heads. We just want to be proactive in a plan. God forbid there should ever be a critical incident. We have also discussed some roadways throughout the county that poses barrier to emergency services and fire apparatuses that need to be addressed moving forward. So that's all something we're all working on. Want to give a shout out to Thornhill for their 85th year celebration on April 25th. They had a celebration and a couple guest speakers. It was well attended. I just want to thank Thornhill for all their years of service in this community, and they're growing, it seems like, every day. What they are pushing right now is to be an 85 Club member, so it's another way to try to raise some money and awareness to Thornhill. So you can go on their Facebook page or reach out to Kelly Anderson, and I'm sure she'd be happy to tell you what the funds will be used for. So I encourage everybody watching to reach out and be an 85 member. Penny Peebler with KCDC has also hit the ground running the last couple weeks. I'm pretty sure the court's heard from her. She and I basically have a day a week, a couple hours every week that we're spending together, kind of looking at things and talking about things, about economic opportunities in Franklin County. So we're excited to work with her, and we look forward to moving this community forward. On Wednesday, May 22nd, there'll be nearly 500 motorcyclists run for the wall. It starts in California, and they're heading to Washington, D.C. They stop here. They should be here about 11:05. They'll be up off Coffee Tree at the Kentucky Vietnam Veterans Memorial for about an hour. So I encourage anybody to come out, show your support. The VFW will be there, providing water and snacks and different things like that to them. But it's a very moving event. and I encourage everyone to show your support. Ashley kind of said something about the employee appreciation lunch / guest speaker. It's not the road department, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. So there's Scott Harvey. So most of you all, some of you all, I saw him at one of our conferences. It's not common that I get wowed by a motivational speaker, and this guy did it. So we came up with the idea of holding I don't think it's ever probably been done in county government, but we hustled money. We got Taylor Marshall to sponsor the speaker that day. His realty company is going to pay for everything. So Scott Harvey's going to come, talk to the employees, and I think it's going to be an amazing 90-minute experience. He'll have books there that are included there. We'll be able to hand out to anyone who wants them. It's a 90-minute speech plus a 30-minute Q&A. So we're looking forward to kind of having some leadership and some camaraderie within. Also want to thank Jamie Bennett and the BIM group. That's our healthcare provider. They're going to provide lunch for everybody that day. So we're going to try to get as many employees there as we can. We know there's some first responders and people that at the jail won't be able to come, so they're going to come down, pick their lunches up, and at least they'll have a lunch. And I believe we're going to be able to Zoom it for anybody who's not able to be there. So super excited about that. Also want to thank Bill Cole and Jeremy Woldridge. We're going to have it at the Grand Theater. So we appreciate them helping us with the venue. So looking forward to that. And then Friday night's the big birthday bash. We've been talking about this for a month or two. So before we start, I want to thank our sponsors because they're the ones that have made this possible. It's at no expense to the taxpayers. All those companies up there have stepped up, have donated money for this party. There will be food trucks, local breweries, things like that there. So we have local talents, Jerry Catherine and Nat Colton. They'll take the stage at 6 o'clock. Then at around 7, we'll have Mashgrass, a local bluegrass band. There they are there. They're out of Versailles, so they're not too far. And then our big headliner is Walker Montgomery. And we're super excited to have Walker. We've talked about getting him for a couple years, so he'll take the stage at 8 o'clock. Also want to thank Kiwanis, Sheriff's Department, Fire Department, everybody. I know Squire Sebastian, Mitzi, everybody's been working on this event, and we're super excited. Looks like the weather's going to cooperate. There'll probably be, I think we were talking earlier, it's looking around 2,000 people who have already received tickets. So we're going to ask everybody, you do have to go to Eventbrite. The tickets are free, but we have to control the numbers. So for parking purposes, yeah. And so you can go to our Facebook page, website, there's QR codes, there's things hanging in gas stations. We've gotten the word out a little bit of everywhere. So if you want to attend, we want you to come. It will be a family-friendly event. Charlie, you want to add anything? I know you all been working hard to get the park ready.
Everything looks great. Road department's done a fantastic job. The Parks Department, everything's looking good. We're just kind of watching the weather.
Yeah, we'll be out. It'd be beautiful. It'll be a nice night. And so last week I received this. I think you all remember our sister city in Shimamoto, Japan. So I think Saturday I got a text from this gentleman right here, Taka. And Andrew, can you go ahead and play it for everybody?
Hello, Michael, Andrea, everyone in Franklin County. I'm Taka from Shimamoto, your sister city. Here are messages from Shimamoto kids. Happy birthday, Franklin County.
Hello, Franklin County. I'm Nanami. Today, I'm in the Sun Park in Shimamoto. When I was a child, I would often play in this park. By the way, my teacher went to Frankfurt and Franklin County last year as a goodwill ambassador from Shimamoto. I'm Taka's student. On behalf of the people of Shimamoto, Japan, I extend our warmest greetings to you on this joyous occasion of Franklin County's birthday bash. As sister cities, our bond is more than just geographical. It's a connection built from shared values, mutual respect, and commitment to cultural exchange. Over the years, we've learned from each other, grown together, and forged friendships that span across the miles. May this special day be filled with laughter, joy, and good memories as you celebrate the rich history and promising future of Franklin County. Here's to many more years of friendship, cooperation, and prosperity between our two great communities. Happy birthday, Franklin County. Bye.
Konnichiwa and hello from Shimamoto, Japan. Here is Takeuchi Shirai. I'm musician and I'm a basketball lover as Taka is. I'm also Taka's student. On this auspicious occasion of Franklin Country's birthday celebration, we send our warmest wishes across the miles to our dear friends in UK. Happy birthday, Franklin Country. As sister cities, our bond grows stronger with each passing year. It's a bond built on friendship, cultural exchange, and a shared commitment to property. Today, as you celebrate our another year of history and community in Franklin Country, please know that our thoughts are with you. I wish this day will be filled with joy, laughter, and unforgettable moments. Here's to many more years of friendship, collaboration, and shared success between our two wonderful communities. From all of us in Shimamoto, Japan, we wish you a fantastic birthday celebrations. ありがとうございます。
There it is. So I personally want to say thank you to Taka and his students for putting that together. That was a great surprise on an early Saturday morning when my phone went off. So I think it's pretty cool that, across the world pretty much they're wishing us a happy birthday. So, well, good deal. Alrighty, next, that's the end of my judge's report. Next, I'd like to invite Ben Judah up. We're going to talk a little bit about the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan. I know this has been something in the works for a couple years now. Not sure, Ben and I had a conversation earlier, if we're comfortable with voting tonight, because it is a lot of information to absorb. So I'm just being honest with everybody. So why don't we, Ben, I'm going to let you kind of pitch it, and we'll go from there.
Good afternoon, Court. So this is coming before you all to fulfill a requirement spelled out in KRS, specifically KRS 100.193, which basically stipulates that the goals and policies be approved before the legislative bodies prior to us going forward with the remaining elements of the plan. We are all working diligently on all of those other sections, but we have poured a lot of time and effort into the goals and policies that were submitted to you all in your packet. They've been thoroughly vetted by the advisory committee. We have a team of consultants helping us along the way as well, and we've worked really diligently on this to get it to where we think it is pretty good. They have that before you all. I'll be happy to take questions.
So Ben, just so everybody understands, what's kind of and JW Squire Blackburn, I'm going to let you speak here in a minute because I know you've been well involved in all this. So Ben, what happens after this? Let's say we pass this, I'm assuming the city has to do the same. What's the next step in this process?
So we're actually working on multiple aspects of this. The goals and policies part of it has to be approved before you can legally approve the other remaining elements, which includes like land use, transportation, community facilities, and the other chapters that we're working on. So until this body approves that, and the city commission as well, we can't move forward with it in terms of process. Now, we are working on it. We have those chapters drafted out, and we're working on finalizing that language before we bring it to you all. But the KRS chapter outlines that this step has to happen first before we can proceed on.
Okay. Squire Blackburn, would you like to add anything to this before we open it up for questions?
Sure, thank you. This is kind of near and dear to my heart. It's the plan that kind of guides the direction for our community for the next several years. I know the last plan was not extensively updated for quite some time. This is the first time in a long time that the process has been so in-depth and involved. Had several community engagement events. Lots of folks have come out and spoken. The consultants have worked really hard, staff has worked really hard, and I just want everybody to really dig in deep, look at it, talk to your constituents. This is going to be the driving force. It's supposed to be revisited every 5 years, but of course we can change it at will. But there's been a lot of time and effort put into it, and I don't believe they've left too many stones unturned, if any. And I've always pleaded for everybody to get involved. Right now, the draft that's, I guess, in front of us, it was completed 2 weeks ago. The Planning Commission did a few changes to it. So get on the website, Distilled Together, look at it. Call us, talk to us, and we'll try to get the best plan for our community.
So Ben, just so I make sure, so this has been, the Planning Commission's looked at it, steering committee, advisory committee, staff, consultants, and multiple community input, right?
Correct.
This is
Gone
what we're
through
looking at
The
here.
whole process, correct.
Okay,
Yep.
just making sure.
Yep,
Okay.
so the Planning Commission looked at it and approved what was put before them with some minor changes, as Squire Blackburn mentioned, and then was forwarded on to you all.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to open up for questions if that's okay. Sure. Squire Wisman.
Just a few comments more so. Judge, sort of what you said there, this was just approved 2 weeks ago. Has there been an opportunity for public to digest these goals and policies beyond the Planning Commission meeting yet, Ben?
It is up on the website, so it is publicly available there. We haven't had any like open house type events since the 2 weeks, but there prior to it going before the Planning Commission, there was opportunity for community input.
But not since this has been finalized in the interim between the Planning Commission and sending it to us to adopt. There's not been an opportunity. Is that typical, or should we maybe think about, or maybe the process is, because we had it on our agenda to vote on this evening, which I didn't want to do. I want to make sure that we have some opportunity for the public to digest this and feedback to all of us, because there could be slight changes. I have some semantic changes that I think are just technical terms. You know, there should be just an opportunity for the public to digest fully here before we vote on this. And just a comment as well, you know, this is what the public through our Planning Commission has developed, right? But it is now our opportunity. It's not just a process of us approving what has been done, but this is really the two elected bodies' opportunity to impart our own goals or things that we see as priorities. For example, under Goal 2 of growth and development, for instance, there's identified 5 or 6 industries that we want to focus on, right? I'm not quite sure how those have been derived. I understand lots of public input, but there may be an opportunity for, and I'm just alliterating here quite a bit, but there may be opportunity for us to say that we want a specific focus in our community that isn't listed. You know, there's been discussion back and forth in the community about growth, industrial growth versus other types of homegrown growth. There's mentioned IT, bourbon, government, finance, and healthcare sectors as primary focuses. I think agricultural, especially agri-tech, the budding agri-tech industry is one that we really need to focus on that is missed currently. So I just want us to, with this process, I sit on the initial advisory committee, and there was discussion initially about having this done in 6 months. We're 5.5 years past that process at this point, so I just want to make sure there's no reason to rush anything, and we have a great opportunity to create a document that I think is really good to be driving the future of our community, and I just want to make sure that everyone feels like they have a final say in what's been developed. So,
Thank you, Squire. And I think that's, when I started off, I think the voting will probably go to next court meeting. Ben, could you let everybody know where this is available when you say it's available? Just anybody, I'm sorry? Yeah, okay, perfect, yeah. So just because ultimately what we're asking now is in the next 2 weeks, if people read this and have feedback, call or email your magistrates, and then we need to have meetings with you, Ben, I would say, to vent any possible changes, but where is this available?
Distilledtogether.com. It's their website for our comprehensive plan process, hosted by the consulting team. So they periodically and frequently make updates to that website. So this should be on there since it's gone through Planning Commission, and yeah, that's the best place to find it.
Okay. Squire Tanner?
I got a couple things. One of them, why is it possible for us to copy what's on their website, put it on ours?
We can. We can put a link on there.
Another opportunity for people to see this before we get there. And I have, I don't want to bring up too much right now, but, there's a few things on here that I have questions about, but mostly proposals, I guess. I don't know the right word there, the policies that I wonder about, and how I should go about making amendments to this if I just want to change a few words. Because we're talking about one of them, for example, says enhance and restore. And he skips on down, and one of them is stone walls. So who's going to restore a stone wall in Kentucky? Is that going to fall upon the city and the county if we pass this?
These are mostly just aspirational things for the most part. It's like
Well,
a
there's a
guide
difference
post.
between,
The purpose of the comprehensive plan is not really to set forth strict regulations. It's more of a aspirational document to set our vision for the future and where we want to go. So although there are some pretty specific policies listed in here, they don't actually effectively change our zoning regulations or anything to that effect. But if we were to change some of our regulations, this would provide us the justification to make those changes.
well, I understand that. I do understand that, partially. I mean, we're going to back up a little bit. And there's two words interchangeably in here which have different meanings, I think. One of them is encourage and the other is promote. And if you promote something, you're advertising, and if you're encouraging something, you're not necessarily promoting it.
Right. So in these type of documents, you do see a lot of that kind of language because of the aspirational nature of it.
Well, anyway, I'm not going to get too deep, but the weeds are pretty high here, and it took y'all, how long did it take to come up with these goals and policies? And we got 4 or 5 days to look at it. I don't think anybody here is willing to do that right now. But I shouldn't be speaking.
So Ben, let's say Squire Tanner would like to have some questions or some words and stuff. Do you want that to wait until our next court meeting, or do you want him to make an appointment with you and just kind of talk through it?
I think in between now and the next court meeting, it would be a good idea if you want to schedule some time to meet with me, or if you want to shoot me an email with, hey, I have this language proposed, and I can share that with the advisory committee and the consulting team, and see if we can work in some changes.
Well, that. One more question, sir, and I will not ask you more today.
Yeah, I'm not believing it. Nope, it's not worth the paper it's written on, Squire. Yep.
I agree. I should be on. I should
Just
be on the
comment, not a question.
Well, this, Tim, this is, I don't know who the question is for. Can we revise this by adding or taking away or changing words? Is that an amendment individually, or do we I don't want to try to rewrite the whole thing, but I understood just from comments today that the Fiscal Court has to approve this, or it's not just an up or down vote, is it?
In terms of the approval of the document as a whole,
Yes. This document, is it just up or down?
I mean, I believe you all have the authority to make changes as you see fit. I would just caution as to making too many changes, because as I've mentioned, this has been thoroughly vetted. It's gone through a pretty lengthy process, and if we make substantial changes, just keeping in mind that we're working with the city on this, they make substantial changes, we're gonna have to reconcile those differences, and just will further lengthen the process. So, you guys are more than welcome to make any changes that you see fit, but it has gone through a very thorough process, and I would just caution you to make too many changes. But if you see something that's, you really want it changed, then we'll work with you.
So Ben, let me ask you this, is there and I've been at some of the meetings, but if there's just a word here and a word there, that's not sending it back through the process, but if we get into changing sentences, paragraphs, direction, is that justified that it has to go back? I mean,
Potentially, I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I would think that the more we change, the more likely it would need to be looked at again, perhaps by a planning commission if it changes significantly enough.
Okay.
I've got a question.
Go ahead, Squire. Can you turn your microphone on, please?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, fine.
Bullet point 7, it talks about Mr. Lucier stating they have seen redundant services. And bullet point 8, they consider merging city and county community services and departments at expenses.
Have to bring that up.
So, before this is signed and we're locked down to something, we need to know what the redundant services are. We need to know what the split of the money is going to be. Anytime you merge with a different government, it seems like you're getting into something that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm not saying it's not a good plan. I'm just saying those are, two things that jumped out at me right off the bat.
So I think you were looking at what was discussed at the planning commission meeting during the minutes. That was directly pulled from the minutes, I believe. So, again, like this is more of like an aspirational document. By approving this, you're not saying, oh, we're hereby merging, new department or creating new departments. But this plan might put forth a framework which, if this body and the city commission desire to merge certain departments, you have justification, it's in your plan. So it's more or less a plan, not actually going to merge anyone.
I understand that, but once we sign it and vote on it, then that means that's where we're at, correct?
Not necessarily. Like these are like, again, this aspirational nature of it, you could have a long list. And as a community, we prioritize, okay, this is the low-hanging fruit. Do we want to go for that? Or do we have these higher problems that we want to go tackle first? So that merging of whatever department might fall really far down the list. And if this document expires in 20 years, you might not ever get to it, but knowing that you had it as a goal.
My experience, it'll happen in 2 days, not 20 years. I'm just, I'm not trying to shoot your plan down. That's something that jumped out at me, and I've seen things work really well, and I've seen things not work really well, especially when you start combining governments. So that's my only comment, Judge.
Yeah. And I think to that point, to Ben's point, I mean, this is just a wish list, but it would still have to go through ordinances and all types of things for anything to change on either side. Squire Wisman.
Judge, I think it's important to understand that this is a guiding document that doesn't obligate us to anything for the Planning Commission to use to finish out our comprehensive plan. This is just the final driving document from the two elected bodies to finish up that plan that we then come back and adopt fully, and we still have the opportunity to amend, change, alter that any way we want to. But I did want to comment, because that one's jumped out at me too. Our community's voted quite clearly in the past about merged services, and I'm not quite sure that this is the document to state this goal number 8, consider merging city and county community services and departments to reduce expenses, make services more efficient, and eliminate redundant services. Although I think there's certainly area to do that within the context of this comprehensive plan. I would think that we would speak more directly to our planning units or planning services. I think anything beyond that, say parks departments or our roads departments or otherwise, is maybe fully outside the scope of our comprehensive plan. We need to add some language that is more specific in that term we're elected bodies. Our planning body is not directing us to merge. I want to make sure that's clear, and that there's no hesitancy in the community in understanding that line and the goals and policies is directed towards that, because we have had those discussions, that we have some redundancy and we share a lot of services already, even though we've never had a clear directive to do so with our code enforcement officer, with our planning units, with our shared planning body. So I don't know how we can alter that, Ben, to clearly state. I think it is more of a conversation from my experience about, we have a shared planning and zoning body, so that it has been difficult to have two separate staffs with one body directing them in the past, and how we could streamline that somewhat, I think, is maybe what the definition of this is what it's trying to speak to. So,
Okay.
and just some other semantic things, if we can provide those to Ben, to like stone walls was mentioned, it really should probably be stone fences. Stone walls is a wholly separate type of construction item.
I think the consultant put that word in.
Dry stone fences perhaps would be even more appropriate, and some other semantics like, there's several abbreviations, KYTC, IT, AG, that really should be spelled out fully.
To that point, we are planning on having a glossary of terms and definitions.
Perfect.
It'll be included in the entire plan.
And Judge, maybe if we can just put this through our website, listed this fully with all of our email contacts so that the public can get in touch with us.
Andrew, did you hear that, buddy?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you.
But otherwise, I think I'm excited to see. I've been frustrated and angered at times that this process has taken so long, and I think we're going to remedy some of those problems in the upcoming years, but I think we finally got to something that is going to provide us a good basis. As Squire Blackburn mentioned, it's been almost 25 years at this point. It started off, it was like 19, since we had a full rewrite and community input and what we wanted to see be the driving force for our economic future, what we wanted to preserve versus what we wanted to develop. All of those arguments that have got so heated and so problematic in this community, I think finally our community's voice is out there, and I just want to express, and I know I go on and on about this stuff all the time, but I want to express that the comprehensive plan is a federally mandated document, legally binding, and I always reference it as a contract between the elected bodies and our citizens, because truly this is not private industry driving the development of our community. It is not special interest groups. It's what our citizens that live and work and stay in this community, it's their vision of what we want to develop, and no one else's. No one, although there gets to be input in those private industries and things, it is truly what our community wants. And if they want no development or all development of a certain type, this is the document that defines that and that holds our feet to the fire as elected officials about the decisions we make in everything going forward. So I can't understate to the community how important this document truly is for us, because we are truly supposed to be referencing almost every decision we make based on whether it fits this plan or not. So.
Well, I agree, and I'm hoping a lot of people that want to input have been attending the meetings. I mean, there's been quite a few meetings and
Countless
things like
meetings.
that, so hopefully a lot of those people have already given their input, so. But if not, any other questions before I move on? Everybody good? Just going to remind everybody, let's make appointments with Ben if you have individual concerns, comments about this, and we'll go from there.
Yep, email me, schedule something with me. Happy to work with you.
Ben, thank you
Welcome.
very much.
And Ben, I'd like to recommend, if people do meet with you and have some changes or recommendations or things like that, going into our next meeting, that we have those in our packet to look at before we,
The changes.
yeah. The suggested changes.
Yes, sir.
Can we not get emails as they come in?
Well,
Can we not get emails as they come in? I mean, can we get?
I think it'd be better if we held them all.
Okay.
And then, and hopefully, I mean, honestly, like to Ben's point, I mean, this thing has been vetted pretty heavily, so hopefully there's not too many. Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. To your point, Squire, members of, your district and people that across the community will call you. I mean, I get lots, we all, not just me, everybody gets lots of phone calls about a lot of things. So with this being imminent, we'll probably start getting more calls in the next couple of weeks about this, so.
Ben, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you.
Alrighty. It's good conversations there, and I know it's a big one, and it's been out there, and I appreciate everybody who has worked on this and continues to work on it. I know it's been a whole lot of work, and I think we're finally getting someplace on that, so. Alrighty, I'm gonna jump down to approval of minutes from our regular meeting of April 24th, 2024. Any comments on that? Seeing none, I'm gonna ask Greg, our maintenance director, to come forward. Greg, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for being with us. You want to tell us a little bit about, I know we approved an RFP to go out. You want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, we sent it out. This is to clean this building, the 315, 313 building, Sheriff's Office, Road Department, twice a week on those two buildings. And then these two buildings down here every night. We only had one company that is local that put in a bid. This company we use at the Judicial Center. They're a great company to work with, and
we really are looking forward to be able to give them some more business.
Greg, before we open this up for questions, I want to thank you and your staff for keeping these buildings clean in the interim. You know, you've been bringing,
Yes.
Ron's been real good about bringing inmates, and, I mean, you've been picking them up, but Bobby and you have been supervising, and we appreciate that
Yeah,
because
I
these are
definitely-
public buildings that need to stay clean, so I appreciate you all doing that during
Yeah.
this transition.
And I definitely appreciate Ron and the jail letting us allow us to have a few inmates to help clean up the buildings in this transitional
Yep.
time we have.
All righty, does anybody have any questions for Greg on this? Squire Witzman?
Judge, well, one, just, Greg, could you speak to the total looks to be 57,488 annually?
Yes.
How does that fit into your budget?
I think it's gonna fit in just right. It's right around where we were wanting to be. This still saves a lot of money. When we had 2 current employees that were on the janitorial staff, you factor in their benefits and their salaries, we're saving like $60,000.
Judge, it occurred to me while I was reading this the other night that we just went through a worldwide pandemic, right? And there are instances with public spaces that there may need to be additional services for cleaning, sterilization, other things, particularly in our jail facility and in our courthouse facility, given the, you know, the demographics that come and go through those facilities. I'm wondering if you had any additional conversations about additional services or beyond maybe regular maintenance, how we can negotiate those with them?
I
through the
have not,
contract?
because what we put in the RFP and the guidelines of what is pretty much everything that would cover everything. I did not have anything like that, because hopefully we don't have another major pandemic. I mean, I know that is a chance, and I think this company is very willing to work with us. I'm sure they would help us out in any way we need to do, get things taken care of. So I think it would be just a conversation we could have down the road with them, and if we needed to change something or add something, we could always probably have this conversation.
That's where I was going with this, that since we only had one bid that we're going to, I assume, approve tonight, maybe we follow up with a conversation about if those circumstances arise, could they maybe give us an annual fee structure of additional services or something, you know, so we can have something kind of count
I'm
on.
assuming they've been in business a long time, they could probably even quote what they had to do in certain courthouses during the pandemic and things like that, if you want some
And they can
figures.
adjust a contract.
Exactly, we
Yeah.
can amend the contract. Squire
They're
Sebastian?
a very good company to
Yep.
work with.
Thank you, Judge.
Yep.
I want to commend you guys for all the work that you've been doing and remind the court in our material that they include all equipment and all of the provisions that they're going to have. So
Yes.
again, that is another cost savings to us outside of benefits, workers' comp, salary, all the other things.
Yes.
So I think on the whole, from everything that I've heard, this is to the benefit of not only county government, all the citizens of Franklin County.
Absolutely.
Yes, I believe it'll
Thank
definitely
you.
help us.
Squire Blackburn, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, Greg, you've done a phenomenal job. Appreciate it. One thing I might recommend is on like the abstracts that we get, on the, like a financial impact, I know there wasn't one on this. I don't mind doing math, I'm a math guy.
Yeah.
But I think it's helpful for most folks to see that.
Okay.
And, because I mean, you know, Squire
Are you
Sebastian.
saying we can't do math?
No,
Is that
I'm
what
just
you're
saying, more people
No,
see our stuff than just
I pulled the Rain Man
us.
over here when he started to pull his calculator out of his ass, said it's 58 grand.
I had it in my notes, but I'm just saying, it's easy for us to pour through this and
Yes.
dig it out. But it makes it even easier if we could sit and say, look, it's right here.
Yeah.
When our constituents call us, the day they see the agenda and the day we get it,
It's already on
we
there.
know, we
Yeah,
know.
and it's easier.
And it's easy, and
Yeah.
it's something you've already done.
Yeah.
It just wasn't included in this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure.
But fine job, thank you.
Greg, thank you.
Thank y'all.
All righty. Next, I believe Tammy is on Zoom. Tammy, you with us?
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing? There she is. Good to see you. Alrighty, so you have the floor. You have two items right here, so you want to go ahead and start with the non-public school student grant program, please.
Yes, this is a resolution to apply for the transportation of non-public school students grant, which funds the transportation, obviously, of non-public school students by the Franklin County School System. Last year, we received from the Transportation Cabinet the full amount. We were invoiced by the school system. The school system has submitted us an invoice for $31,304 for the current school year, and they have estimated costs of $33,305 for next school year. So I'm requesting approval of this application so we can recover all or a large portion of these costs.
All right, can you say the amount again before I open this up for questions of what you're actually going for?
For this school year, the cost to the school system was $31,304.
Thank you very much. All righty, questions for Tammy on this agenda item? All righty, seeing none, let's head to your next one, please.
Okay. This is a resolution to approve an agreement with the Council on Aging. At the February 28th court meeting, you decided that it would serve both of our interests to establish an agreement. Marshall Jenkins provided input on the drafted agreement you have in front of you.
Alrighty, we actually have that superstar in our audience right now. Marshall, I can't help but ask you to come up and say a few words to the court. Well, I saw you sitting there, so I thought, so do you have any questions for us, or is there anything you want to say to the court? I know we've talked about this, a line item for...
I just want to say thank you to the court for noticing this and agreeing to look at this. The city has included us as a line item in their budget versus being in with other nonprofits, which is the right move, I believe, since it is a mandated type of program for Franklin County. And are there any, I don't know, is there any questions?
So I believe this would put one of our court members on the board, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty.
So we did have a board meeting, and we will continue with our regular 12 board member with an additional representative from the county, and we will also ask the city if they would like to have a representative.
Okay. So before we open it up for questions, I would like to go ahead and make a recommendation for the court for Squire Sebastian. I know she's been serving as a citizen member on your board for a long time. She's very active out there, and I talked to her, and she would like to continue serving in this capacity to represent us. So any thoughts on that? I mean, we'll kind of have to make a motion between us if everybody's okay with that. And Squire, I'm assuming you're still willing to serve in this capacity to represent the fiscal court?
I will. Thank you, Judge.
Everybody okay with that? All righty. Any other questions for Tammy or Marshall since she's here? Oh, Lordy, look at the hands. Start with JW. Squire Blackburn, you haven't gone first.
Max, have you looked at this memorandum of agreement?
Yes.
All right. Does it designate how that member's chosen? I mean, I know, I'm totally fine with how we just did it.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of times we've had appointments that are judge only or court only or whatever, and I'd like to see that.
Okay. Let Max review that for a minute. I'm gonna let Squire Sebastian ask him this question while he's looking at that, please.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Item 3 in this, where it says the county shall have access to the premises owned and operated by, which needs to be addressed because somebody put society in there. I think they cut and pasted this from another agreement, so I'm not sure who did that. To inspect and evaluate the services. So this doesn't talk about the timing of that. It just says that we shall have access to the premises. So that really should be noted during business hours. We should not be able to go
Okay.
in there at any whim
Right.
of anyone to, and so I don't know if it needs to be more specific to that, but we need to be able to go in there when we can work with staff.
Yeah.
Whomever, and not just at the call of anyone.
Kim, do you see where Squire Sebastian's talking about number 3? If we could work in there,
Yes, I do.
during regular business hours or something like that?
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
okay?
yeah,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be on the weekend, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be after business hours, and I think that's something that we realize, but I think we've also been
Yeah.
a party to enough agreements to realize if we don't nail details like that down,
No,
they
absolutely.
come back at a later time
Yeah.
when there's an issue. We just need to be in front of that.
Squire Tanner, did you have a hand up?
Not to this issue, I wanna go back to another.
All right, Squire Wisman, somebody had a...
Yeah, a couple of things. One, I just want to thank everyone for putting this together. We asked for it, and I think it's critical that we have more agreements when we provide public funds to outside agencies, that we don't administer them. So given the amount of relationship that we have with the council and how much work they do and the number of people they serve in our community, I think this was a great step forward and gives everyone more accountability and more concrete performance, let's say, for public funds. So just the couple of things that were mentioned I had, but I just wanted to add that, number 6 talks about that board representative being appointed, and I just thought, let's just add the language to be appointed annually by the fiscal court. I thought that would be most fitting.
I think if you look at the language, if you turn the
Or
page
whatever.
over,
getting ready to
because it's
say,
for a
I think-
3-year term, so it would have to be every 3 years. And in answer to Squire Blackburn's question, it states in, I guess, the second sentence there, the fiscal court to appoint, so it would be the court to appoint the representative and not just
Yeah.
the judge executive as was talked about earlier. So if the appointment would then come every 3 years, so it looks like the next one, because this would be appointed on July 1st, 2024, the next one would then come up July 1st, 2027.
I'm fine with that then.
Okay, thank you. Squire Sebastian.
So there are a couple of things that pointed itself in this agreement as drafted. One, it says a representative or representatives, item 4. Let me call
Oh,
it
thank you.
attention to
Yeah, I was
that.
going to ask, yeah.
A representative or representatives of the council's board of directors shall make a report to the county no less than every 6 months. Then, which item 5 is not in here, so if there is an item 5, somebody needs to tell us what that is. Because it's absent.
1246.
Tammy, do you know if that's just the numbers got off there, or is there some?
Sorry, there was something in the Humane Society's agreement that I deleted, and that changed the numbering, sorry.
Okay.
And then it also says in item 6, I guess, which becomes item 5, that the representative shall make a quarterly report. The member of the court is supposed to make a quarterly report to the fiscal court. So, which are we doing? We're doing all of them?
Yeah, well, I was a little confused on that
Yes,
myself,
it's
because
quite
when we
confusing.
send the invoice in for the quarterly
For the draw?
withdrawal, then I put a report, so to speak, together saying everything that we've done. So will that come from me, or will that come
It just,
from
we need
the
to be clear here
representative?
because these two things point.
Yeah, no,
opposite
absolutely.
of
So,
each
so
other.
Marshall, can you give me an example? Because I don't think I've seen one of those. So that'd be good if the court got to see your quarterly, even in our information packets. Can you just give me an example of some of the things that might be in your quarterly reports that you've been providing? Can we get them?
We get them.
Okay, well, that's my fault then. Well, all right, give me an example, just so everyone
So
knows.
it talks about just all the activities that we've done within the past quarter, meals being served.
Oh, I thought you meant financials. Okay, so you're just
Oh,
saying
no.
what you do.
Just kind of
Oh, okay.
what we do.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's my fault.
So the question there is how do we want to have item 4 stand on its own, and do we want to have item 6, which becomes item 5, changed in any way, or do you want a quarterly report from the member of this body to this body, and then also Marshall coming in?
I don't see
And
it.
they can report every 6 months?
I think it's too much.
You're over.
I think she's already doing it in the quarterly reports. I mean, is the court okay with that?
We just need to.
Yeah,
fix
yeah,
this.
fix it, yeah.
What if what's already occurring seems to be great for quarterly, but it wouldn't hurt to have a financials update every 6 months about, I remember some instances in the past where you all had some, especially during the pandemic, we had some financial struggles, some equipment broke down, some of those kinds of things that we might go ahead and schedule those every 6 months to kind of have a full financial picture of the agency's productivity. Would that be amenable, having you're already doing the one reports, I'd rather just have more for this court. Our focus is more financials, I suppose, or within our range of activities.
Okay, so just for clarity on my part, am I the one that's sending in these reports, or is it your representative?
Well, what,
You're fine.
Can I
Go ahead,
speak?
Squire.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
absolutely.
apologize.
No, we're
I
just
was
going.
speaking
We're just
without
working this out.
being
all good.
recognized, I apologize. Thank you. So I think the pattern of the grants office is every quarter, there is a request for the draw on the
That's right.
funds. And as part of that request for the draw, there are certain things that need to be provided that talk about level of service, what the organization is doing with those funds for the community. So that will continue to happen on that quarterly basis and/or the period of time when the request for funds come in. So there's a written piece. So this document doesn't address the written piece. This document addresses quarterly face-to-face reports from the member of this body to this body, and it also requests every 6 months someone else that represents the Franklin County Council on Aging to come. So you're going to get, at that 6-month period, 2 reports, because this says the member of this body will make a report every 3 months. It says that. So it either needs to be taken out or amended or whatever. And then it also says that every 6 months.
Yep.
So we need to fix it one way or another.
Tammy, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tammy.
I just want to clarify, KCBC comes before the court and they just send us an invoice. So that is what I thought that we were going towards with the Council on Aging, that we wouldn't continue the quarterly summaries, that it would mimic what KCDC currently does. That's where I was coming from.
This says shall. This says you shall do stuff.
Yeah. So I think we need to tone it down a little bit. So, all right, how do we want it to read then? Because I don't think it's necessary. It seems repetitive for me to have, you do it every 3 months.
It's excessive.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, Judge,
I'll do whatever you
I'm
all
thinking
want me to
that,
do.
again, we've got a contract for them to conduct services on our behalf, that we don't need, it's one thing to have the quarterly reports from the agencies who we don't have direct contact with and
not a line
are
item.
using our funds, and we're giving a quarterly draw only.
Yeah.
With this contract, I feel like we need less oversight because the performance are built in. I'm fine with maybe an every 6 months, or even maybe just an annual update before budget time, but I think 6 months would be
Michelle, what do you
knowing
think
that.
if you just came every 6 months, mid-year, and just gave us an update? I mean, that's kind of what we ask, or what we prefer our nonprofits to do, just to keep us in the loop of what's going on.
And
Would that be okay?
typically, when there is, for example, with ROSM, when we have a board meeting, I'll make a point in other business to say, here's what
Yeah.
happened in ROSM.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a laborious
Right.
report, but it does need to talk about the level of service that are provided to individuals and families.
Yeah.
In that instance.
Okay,
Same with you.
so, again, just for clarity, I'll come in,
Every 6 months and tell us
give
how
you a
great
little
you're
bit of
doing
the
and how much excess
synopsis,
money you have and all those things.
and provide you with a financial report that can be put in your packets. And do I still, Tammy, will I still send in the quarterly withdrawal?
Well, let me ask you
Or
that. No, you won't have to, I don't think.
Okay.
It'd be automatic because it'd be a line item.
Okay.
Do you make, that? Let me just ask, sure, for my informational purposes,
Right.
do you make that quarterly report? Does anybody else see it but us?
Just you guys.
Okay, so we can take it off your plate. I was gonna say, if you were making it anyways and distribute it, something
No,
like,
Just for you.
I think if you come in every 6 months to give us an update, and like Squire Sebastian said, if there's something pressing or something that you want us to know, then she's welcome to do it at any court meeting. Squire, is that okay?
It is, but I will say, part of the reason that we were asking for these reports on a quarterly basis, not because you were in a different funding status previously.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
has changed. But one of the reasons is in the last court, there was a question asked of the body about funds and how they were being utilized across all of the entities. And we were told if we needed that information, we had to go source it on our own.
Get it yourself.
Which is not necessarily what we should have to do to keep up with what good is being done with taxpayer dollars
Yeah.
out in the community.
Yeah.
So that is why the reporting period is in here every quarter when you request, just to show the advancements of the county's dollars being put back into the county to serve citizens.
But to your point, since we've changed this
Yes.
as a line item,
This one
then
is
it
different.
changes everything.
This one is
Yeah.
different now.
Okay.
Did I take it to understand the desire of the court is to take out the last sentence of numerical paragraph 6? Since you're wanting every 6 months them to come and provide the report, so then that would take out the last sentence of numerical paragraph 6. Is that the desire of the court?
Yes.
Okay.
Kim, did you get that?
Yes.
Judge, I was just wondering too, if we should define, April would seem to be a good time prior to the budget for one of those 6-month reports, and then back 6 months from that for the other before the end of the year, whenever that falls. Yeah. Do we want to define those, what months we expect them, just to?
Max, we need to define that here. I mean, if we just.
I mean, it's the pleasure of the court on how
It
specific.
might make it easier for her to know when she's
When-
supposed
when the
to be
date
in,
is,
so she can stick
yeah.
it in her calendar,
Yeah.
you know?
Or by a certain date. You see what we're trying to do? Just kind of know how
I'm
things
right
are going
with you.
before we go into
Believe
budget
it or not,
season.
I am.
I would either make it March, but no later than April.
No.
Because we have to, you have to
Yeah.
have, judge has to have a budget before this body, May
Yeah.
1. And so all of that legwork is being done up to May 1.
If I could interject here,
Please.
typically, we would have that information to the court in March.
So why don't we plan on doing one of them in March and then 6 months from then,
September.
September, we'll do another.
Okay, so the next time I'm going to meet with you all is September? Okay.
You good with that?
And you all
Can
want
we-
that spelled out in numerical
Can we add that to number
paragraph
4, that those,
Yeah.
choose the 2-month reportings?
I don't have a copy of the contract in front of me.
We'll get it
but-
to you. We'll send it
But
to you.
I do have a question about
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
Going about the representative. Is the language in there,
Here, you want
3
this?
years, 2 consecutive?
Yes.
No more than
Two
Okay,
videos.
I wanted to make sure because it
It's the
was,
same.
Mr. Comley had said every 3 years, but I think it states that it's 2 consecutive 3-year terms. So that's a total of 6 years that that representative would be able to serve. Or is that what it says?
You mean-
Yes, it's Franklin County Council of Aging to serve for 3 years and shall serve 2 terms pursuant by the laws of the council.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
For a maximum, though, that would be a maximum if the court chose to add someone else at a different 3-year term because the
That's a maximum on,
previous.
Yeah.
on that body. No
Yeah.
one sitting on that body can serve more than 2 consecutive
Just
terms.
fair.
So
I think
that's
that is a
across
great
the
thing.
board. That is
I love
across
it.
the board.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you want to then put a period after to serve a term of 3 years period? No representative shall serve more than 2 terms pursuant to the bylaws of the council?
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's just the council's
Yeah.
bylaw. That's applicable to every
Yeah.
person on the board, not just this body.
Right.
Yeah, perfect. I think it's a great thing. There's a lot of people who want to serve in so many ways, so.
So we're gonna renumber
Yep,
this.
we'll renumber it from 5 on.
We're gonna take out the word Humane Society. We're taking that out.
Yep,
And we're putting the terms in and we're removing the quarterly report, right?
Max, you
We
got it.
just need to
Kim,
be
you got it?
sure
Yeah.
we know what
Yeah.
we're
Here in
voting on.
September.
He's gonna, before we go to voting session, I'll make sure Max goes over all that with Kim. You good, Max?
Yes.
Cammy, anything else? Thank
Thanks,
you for
Tammy,
getting
for
this
your
together.
work.
Yeah, thank you for getting this together.
Judge, I forgot something. I had just a question about the word senior. I was wondering if that is the legal term that you will use, elderly senior. Is there a definitive term that says something about the population?
Older
that you serve?
Americans Act uses senior.
Okay. Okay. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, a lot of people
That's fine, thanks.
doesn't really like the word senior, but it is.
But federal law.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we
No,
complied
it's all
with
good.
whatever term it was.
Michelle, thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Alrighty,
it all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, any other follow-up question on Ben's thing? I think we've all kind of agreed we're gonna table that vote tonight.
Judge?
Yes?
I do want to go
Go
back and
ahead.
ask the question about the janitorial contract, if I might.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a start date or end date in it. So when the contract is drawn up, that needs to be resolved somewhere.
Yep. Okay, yep.
I'll make sure that there's a start and end.
Yep.
Not one in
But
the
the
bid,
presumption would
not
be-
one, not a start or end.
Probably start, but when we do it,
He's planning on them starting Monday.
I understand,
Yeah.
I mean, we would typically make the renewal periods like consistent with our fiscal years, right? We didn't do that?
Whatever you want to do, but it needs to be something in
It's
there.
y'all's preference. I mean, anything can be in there.
Yeah.
We can start it and stop it anytime you want, but if it's the court's preference, if you will just let me know that when I get the
I just
contract, I
think-
can renew it.
Seems
Make
like
sure
the
that-
fiscal year is pretty quick. But I'm not gonna, I just think it's gotta be a start date and end date in there because prices change, responsibilities change, et cetera. Whatever y'all think.
So what do y'all think? So we know we're gonna have a start date of, I think, May 14th. So when do you want it to go through?
What don't we do? I suggest we do a calendar year, and that way it would be in the budget.
Are you wanting for a one-year contract to be automatically renewed without, it's the court's preference there if you want this to continue to be renewed, or if every so many years you all want to bid this out. Sometimes it's an advantage either way. I just need to know what to look for.
Go ahead, Squire Sebastian.
So, if we do the automatic renewal, the list that Kim is working on is going to be really important to us because we have a number of agreements that have automatic renewals in them that we never see as part of this body. They just automatically renew. But it's critical for us to understand that because we may be in the 20th year of an automatic renewal and the court needs to review those things periodically. Because when we get into that, we know that has happened to this body. We know that.
All right, what's the will of the court?
Judge, can we,
Whatever the customary contract is, I'm sure it's got a 30-day notification to cancel,
Yeah.
those kind of things automatically put them in there.
Yeah.
But I think what Sherry's saying, and I agree with her, is that we have a lot of automatic stuff and then it never comes before us and we don't know if it's going well or it's not going well or something needs to change. So maybe do the automatic renewal, but we need to keep up with what's going on a
And that's
little
what
better
Kim's trying to get
than we have.
that
Yeah.
list together.
I would state, I'd really like to get, we've been talking for the last year and a half about reviewing all of those. I would really like to put a maximum of 4 years on anything so that it's automatic, that it has to come before the current or the next court, that none ever supersedes a term of a court. So I was just looking through the RFP that was submitted for this, and it didn't say an annual contract, or it's not defined here fully. So I would prefer an annual contract, and either party can renegotiate upon the point that prices change or whatever, and renewable for a maximum of 4 years.
Okay, you got that, man?
I would maybe suggest that the 4-year term maybe not end right at the calendar year when potentially a whole new
I agree with
Agreed.
group may be sitting here
Agreed.
as that may be
But everyone has
ideal.
to jump in
If all of
day
a sudden
one.
that you
Anyway,
don't have
so-
any cleaning services and you have a whole new group and they
Yeah.
don't realize it, and
Not to make this.
that would
any
just be
harder-
my suggestion, but you all are more than welcome to do whatever you want to do.
Not to make it any harder than it should, why can't we just make this first contract into the next fiscal year, and then we do it from there on 1 year?
So
like that.
we make it effective Monday, ending June 30th of next year. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what I heard.
With an automatic renewal
For up to 4 years.
for up to 4 years.
Yep.
And then that way, it would be mid-term of another body,
Yep.
where you're not running into all these
Yep.
things that happen, and you don't know what you're doing, or new people don't,
Exactly.
because that's problematic.
Yeah.
Very.
You?
Yeah, you walk in the first day and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you don't have janitorial services and trash is piling up and
Yeah,
everything else.
and other things.
I wouldn't recommend that, but
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, we good?
I'll make it fun.
All righty. I believe Amy's with us. Hello, Amy. Thank you for being with us today. Just got really quiet. Do you notice that?
Serious now. So this next agenda abstract is for the court facilities local government reimbursement form. And this, it outlines the reimbursement of expenses for the Administrative Office of Courts. This amount's based on an annual audit performed by AOC, and it is for $413,100. And at year end, we do another audit, so if expenses haven't been reimbursed, then they reimburse it, and it could work the other way as well.
Questions for Amy on this agenda item? All righty. Next. Oh, go ahead, Squire.
This isn't a question for our treasurer, Judge, thank you. I just have a question in regard to Section 6 agreement, and that's, we realize that over the past couple of days, there have been some government closures due to inclement weather. And what this document says is that the Chief Circuit Judge has the sole discretion to close that facility. So I don't know if there's a consultation period that they just consult with county here in case, sometimes we get calls thinking that they're calling the courthouse. Just, I don't know how that works. I'm only saying that just for a matter of, so that we're all on the same page of what is closed and what is not closed. Because it doesn't talk about a period of communication or anything. Now, that may not need to be in there, that may be just understood that we're all together on that stuff. I want to bring that up for that reason, because we've had that happen.
Yeah, I personally don't think it's necessary, but I do know we have a great working relationship. Squire Williams is the contact, so he and I communicate all the time. So I'm appreciative that they kind of put somebody to say he's in charge this year, or I don't know if they take turns or what, but they've been great to work with. And they usually, during some of the inclement weather and things like that, he's called me at 5 a.m. We've talked through it.
That's the main thing, as long as there's a clear line of communication, so we all know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Next.
Okay. Next agenda item is a budget transfer that our maintenance director asked for to move $1,000 from the county buildings repairs to the custodial supplies for the judicial center. And again, those expenses will pass through to AOC. Not pass through to AOC, we will be reimbursed by AOC. Poor wording.
All right, any questions on this? Seeing none, next.
The next, this is an annual, this goes along with our budget that we submit, and this is the same as last year, correct, Kim?
Yes.
No changes? So utilities and payroll liabilities by KRS, we can go ahead and pay those. We request from DLG that we can also pay these expenses that are listed. So this, if you all approve, will go along with our budget for DLG to approve us to pay those.
Questions for Amy on this agenda item?
Could you elaborate on what are licenses, fees, and records applicable, specifically licenses? Anything that goes through a clerk's office?
Kim, I'll let you.
It's mow liens, license plates, registration, all that kind of stuff. Any agreements that's interlocal or with a state agency.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Kim. Any other questions? All righty. Next is the one we've all been waiting for.
This is our first reading of the budget, and it is a little bit different, the format that we went through these past many meetings, but it's in the format that will be presented to the Department of Local Government. Now, I do have one change. In your packet, I did a spreadsheet of the changes since the last time that we met. I reduced the insurance, and I'm going to change that and put that insurance back in. We did get our quote Our insurance premium went up 22%, and I feel like that amount needs to go back in there. So I'm just going to give you a summary of this budget with that number back in. The budget will be for $53,945,730. The number excluding capital expenses and federal projects will be $35,807,580. So this is the time for any changes to be made after the first reading. It will go to the Department of Local Government. At that point, we cannot change it.
Alrighty, so can I start, Amy?
Yes.
Okay, because I know you and I have talked about a couple things, so there was a couple things that I felt like were left off, and over the last couple of weeks, we've kind of really looked at this budget. I think it's a great, great budget. I appreciate the court working hard on this. I am going to ask for, I met with Greg Fry, our maintenance director. He's wanting to do some cleanup work on the third floor of the building, 315 next to us, and he has asked that we put $5,000 in the budget to get that area cleaned up so we can decide what to do with it. I think I have two. That's my first one. Everybody okay with that? Okay, the next one is, and we've talked about this as a group before, but it's kind of come to my attention after talking to Tammy pretty hard that we need some kind of grant-style representation in Washington, D.C. You know, I think there's a lot of things we're kind of missing out on. I think we as a county are trying to do big things and grow this community. So I am going to ask the court for $75,000, and then we will start a process that we can all be involved in to try to figure out who would be the best fit to work with us in Washington, D.C. to get some things happening. So those are the two that I have for you. Other than that, I think it's a wonderful budget, and I appreciate everybody's work on it.
So, I owe the court an apology. This is totally on me, my fault, but I'm going to beg anyway because that's what I do. So, during our process of going through the budget, going through the outside agency budget, I messed up. I missed a piece, and that is Wanda Joyce Robinson's, the $6,000 that they requested for their mentoring program. It is a super, super important piece of what they do. They don't get money for it anywhere else. And again, I just missed it. I missed it. They put two together, two asks in the same document, and I just missed it. So I'm requesting an extra $6,000 for Wanda Joyce Robinson for that position.
Squire, can you remind me what we have done for them already and what that's going towards?
Yes. So the other amount of money was $8,000, I think is what we agreed on. And it is for the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh.
So it's still under Wanda Joyce Robinson, but it is specifically for the Boys and Girls Club that we're going to be opening.
Yeah. And I'll give a shout out to Wanda Joyce because I think they're doing an amazing job. I'm actually my wife and I are part of the mentoring program, and that is the best results they have seen out of everything they're doing as far as making positive changes with these kids whose parents are incarcerated to try to break the chain, I guess you could say, if that's the right
Well,
term
and
or not.
I'd like to say too, I see a lot of these kids in therapy, and honestly, these mentors, I mean, they change these kids' lives. A lot of them haven't had a dad in their lives for a long time or a mom in their lives for a long time. And so the mentor from the community is really important, but this position, this $6,000 is an actual paid, part-time paid position. And it is specifically so that kids can reach a mentor, can reach the kind of supervising mentor, and literally she answers her phone 24/7. And it's for, just anything that they need at a moment's notice, really. So it's pretty important. Thank you. And I apologize for missing it the first time.
All righty. So any thoughts on, and anybody else have anything else?
I got some questions.
Squire Tanner, go ahead.
Amy, when you talked about putting the 20% increase we're getting on the insurance, and you put the numbers back, you're talking about all the insurance except, you're talking about insurance general, workers' comp fire, and the workers' comp clerk. All of those are going back, or just, be specific about that, please.
I am only taking the insurance general, so that account 0191000521, I'm taking that back to 571,000.
Will that cover what their increase is?
Yes,
So the workers' comp went down?
it did.
All of the workers' comp went down?
I estimated originally a 20% increase there as well, and it was just right under 3% increase on workers' comp.
Okay, that was my question on that. I have one more question, if I might. The only one.
I was gonna rewind that tape about 30 minutes ago. Yeah. I promise. Yeah. Go ahead, Squire Tanner.
This is the most important one to me. Probably one of them. They're all important, I think. I'll back up on that. To balance this budget, and the one you gave us before, which is, this is it, but before we made those last changes, we were $2,724,000 unbalanced. So with the changes we made today, is that gonna move that number?
So, yes. So in order for our budget to balance, we have to come from the reserves, which is the number you were referring to. So with the changes that were made before today, that brought that carryover, which is our reserves, to 2.555370. With today's changes, it takes it up to 2.659870. So that, yes. So the final number, 2,659,870. So my question is, the changes that you all are proposing today, do you have somewhere you're going to take it from in the budget, or are we taking it from the reserves and increasing that amount?
Moving that number up. And what I'm adding in my head is that is 18,000 that put back in the insurance, 75,000 for a firm, and 11,000 for two other entities.
Yes.
So that would be increased by those numbers.
Yes.
But compared to last year, we were at 4, and we didn't touch any of it.
But let's remember that last year we didn't have the increase in insurance premium tax.
Right,
And we
yeah,
had
and that's what's helping things.
We have
Absolutely.
many vacancies we didn't fill, including the jailer and staff at
That's
the jail
right.
and all across our county staffing. And we had multiple retirees who stepped away, and we had payouts that impacted, but we're saving on some of those costs. I expect this next year is going to be closer.
But I will say, and I agree, listen, I'm right there with you as a business owner, but I will say we have two big things going for us right now. First one is, we have a new PVA there that has reassessed a lot of things that haven't been paying the right fair share. And we also have, and we haven't announced it yet, a new manufacturing employer that's gonna bring 225 jobs starting January 1. So those are all positive things, but I appreciate everyone's comments, but yeah.
Well, and
Some
Judge,
other growth.
like you and I talked about today, I went to the kind of medical cannabis training, and so that's going to bring in money as well. It just is. So,
What? Go ahead, Squire.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Let's not lose sight that we're about to lose $1 million that will compound plus every year going forward, and that will compound. And it won't be $1 million. The first year, we'll lose $1 million, then it'll grow to 2, 3. So that will exponentially impact Franklin County and the services we can provide. So we need to be very mindful of dipping into reserves, because at some point, there will be a tipping point where we will have to decide what services are critical and what potentially may have to, that tipping point is coming.
I agree, but I think that's a whole nother conversation, because there's been communities that are doing inventory taxes and things like that. So I think we need to really look at how we.
Not disputing
Yes.
that there are
Yeah,
other
no,
things out there.
absolutely.
But we have to see the windscreen that we've got
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
and the windscreen is in the minus column.
Yep.
And I think the finance committee, we've been very responsible in
Yeah.
weaning ourselves off of that. And over the
Yes.
next years, we will continually budget less in that amount. We will still get that revenue, but we won't have it budgeted.
Squire Tanner.
Make sure I understand this, and then I do have a comment. The budget we're gonna submit to DLG today is gonna be fundamentally unbalanced unless you consider transfer from the surplus, the balancing.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be a negative number.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a negative number by 2.7 rounded.
But again, to what I was saying, Squire, we've always done that, but
Wow.
we've never dipped in because of the way the calendar year works, the fiscal year works, projects that aren't
Yep.
done.
Amy's done a great job, so we know right where we stand. There is no question about where we stand today. And the only thing that my comment is, whenever we get our tax raise, it has to balance this budget. I'm gonna support this budget 100%. I'll make the motion to do it whenever it comes time. But I'm also gonna make sure that I make a motion that we have enough tax revenue to cover whenever we can set our tax rate, which is not gonna be until probably June, maybe July, I don't know.
August.
August. So I want everybody to keep in mind where we're going, August. At least that's where I'm going. Let me back up.
That's good.
I'm committing myself only, because I only have one vote. And I'm very liberal. I'm not gonna sit up here and try to hide behind something else. Because I think everything we've done for the employees is great. They deserve every dime they get, more than we're giving. And we've come a long way, and I expect us to go a long way more.
Yep.
But thank you very much. I
Yep.
hush.
No, you're good. Thank you, Squire. Squire Westman, do you have a hand up?
Yeah, Judge, a couple of things. You know what, I think we have to be really cognizant in some of the hirings we just went through that we're having to be much more competitive, and we've got a lot of folks getting close to retirement throughout our county employment, and we've got some key positions, you know, the planning director amongst the biggest one that's going to be a big financial impact, I'm feeling, more than we've budgeted perhaps. But I think there are some good opportunity, and I hope that we as a body can set aside some time very soon to set up some goals, priorities. I mean, we've got to do that if we're even remotely looking to hire a lobbyist on our behalf. We have to have a unified single voice. I think we fell short with our efforts with the legislature this time because we didn't, and we weren't all making phone calls as we should have been, supporting initiatives. We've got to come together as one. We have a lot of projects that are looming in the corners that we're not all fully informed about, but we can't afford any of those right now with a $2.7 million deficit. I think there are some promising opportunities. There was a Keiko the other day for their listening tour, and brought up some topics that I didn't expect some other communities to be on. Bourbon tax, losing that, a way to supplement that. Jails, we all know are a massive drain on our resources, and there seems to be, Keiko has said they were going to make that their number one initiative going into the next legislative session, that I think we are going to need to be one of the lead counties in that effort, and that will greatly impact our budget, hopefully in the future, if we can get some substantive changes there. I think we're in a good position at the budget, but I'm concerned. This court, for about the last 12 years that I could go back in budgets, always is pulling out of the reserves millions of dollars to balance their budget every year, and rarely, and prior to most of you all serving on this court, rarely came up with any new revenue sources in the past. We just did the insurance premium, which helps a great deal, but I think we've got to, in passing this, give ourselves some homework that we have to take some substantive efforts in this next year to see some statewide changes and ways we can procure some revenues. So I'll sort of mimicking what Squire Tanner said, that if we're going to approve this, we have to have some further reasoning behind it about how we're going to afford this deficit in the new year.
Oh, I agree. And I can promise you, I'm working on it every day, thus the employers and things like that. But I will say, I mean, in the years I've been around, I mean, this is the best budget. We've gotten better every year. So I think it's all a matter of working together and getting it all figured out. All right, any other questions?
Judge, you had mentioned, or maybe Squire Sebastian, this is normal to have pulling from reserves for timing. Some of this is truly carryover money that came in, And I think it's important, especially for, the public to know this is budget. This is not, like you said, each year we have actually not pulled from reserves. Now, there may be an occasion that we do have to pull, and it, that does happen. But the past has shown that this court has built up that reserve. But each year, it has been budgeted.
Yeah.
So,
But think about all the unexpected things that we've had this year, the money we've put in that jail alone.
Yeah.
That wasn't budgeted. So, I mean, I commend this court. I mean, I think fiscally, honestly, we're being very fiscally responsible. And to your point, Squire Tanner, Squire Wisman, yes, I mean, when you say that, it seems like it's a really bad thing, but I think the way the money comes in and goes out, and we're in different calendar years, and it's just, but to your point, Amy, we haven't touched it, and that's phenomenal. Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. So I just wanted to be clear on that point. It's an accounting practice to ensure that we have a balanced budget, as you know, Squire Tanner, you know. You know that better than any of us because you've sat on a fiscal court somewhere else. And that is a key thing. But we have not, even though we have done more things in this budget that we're currently in that were not budgeted, we still haven't dipped into our reserve. We have not done that.
Yep.
So that needs to be in front of all of us, that we have not done that. And on the occasion where that may have happened several courts ago, it was to the tune of about maybe $100,000 if it was ever dipped into. So it is not a practice, but it is an accounting practice, not a physical practice.
Yeah. Well, I do.
That makes sense.
I understand what everybody said. If I've got a problem, is Amy tells it like it is.
Yeah.
And she's always right. And I understand that there could not be a draw on that reserve at all, and that because it wouldn't actually last year. And we budgeted, I'm pretty sure it was budgeted, it didn't come out, we had not used any of it. But by August, we should have a clear picture of actually what the revenue is going to be, because everything will be closed out. You know more about that, obviously, than I do, but and you're great with it. There's no question about that. And anything I said about this being fundamentally unbalanced is just to make sure that everybody knows it is right now, but it probably won't be later. And if we don't keep up, let me use another term, if we don't keep up, House Bill 44 prevents us from catching up, because you can't. You can't raise taxes more than 4% any year. You can cut them all you want to, but you can't get it back, because House Bill 44 stops you from doing that.
And then Squire Wisman, let me say something, because you said, you feel like we need to be looking for revenue, and I commend this court for hiring our enforcement officer. Let me tell you, that's making a world of difference.
It is.
We're holding companies responsible for what they're doing. We have now put a part-time person over there to help her, because we can go back 5 years from all these companies that have been working illegally in Franklin County to pay their fair share. So I do think we're being fiscally responsible, and I do think we need to have a committee meeting with everybody to get on the same page. But I feel really good with everything, and I personally want to thank everybody on this court and Amy for all their work they've done on this budget.
And Judge, I'm very excited about the cash vest, that's the timing of money, I think is going to make a big difference for us over the next year.
Absolutely.
And the way that money flows in and flows out, it's just been typically thrown in a reserve and acted as a checking account that goes out, but we can balance that better. I have strong suspicion that's going to benefit us greatly, that it may help with our deficit.
Absolutely. Squire Sebastian, do you have something? Or Squire Blackburn? Sorry.
I was just going to make a point of this court has been resourceful in how it has addressed some needs too that we've had. We've been able to go out and find some business sponsors for some things that needed to be done at our jail facility and some other things. So not only is the court being thrifty in how it handles these matters that have come up, but we've had members of the community step up and want to be part of that.
Yep.
Well, that says a lot.
Absolutely.
That says a lot when a local business will step up and take care of something, and they absolutely don't want to put their name on it.
Yep.
They just want to be a good member of the community. That says a lot.
Squire Blackburn.
You had mentioned insurance going up 20%. Did they tell you why? Was that an experience rating modification thing?
They did. And we have scheduled for the Finance Committee on Monday for Sue Porter from CAECO to come and go over all of that. So we can certainly present that to the court once they...
'Cause I was watching the workers' comp tax closely for the last 6 years. And I know we had some issues that caused that to go up, but you said it went down, it didn't go up the full 20%?
No, I think it was like 2 to 3%
All right.
was the rate.
So that's based on our practices and our trainings and things like that. It's very important, and it affects our bottom line. So I just want to try to get an understanding of that. So when you do talk to them, I'd like to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And we're doing more of it now than we were ever allowed in the past to do. We've talked about that as part of the strategic planning, about trainings and other things, and selling property that we don't use, tangible pieces of property, ladders and other things that are in the top of buildings. I mean, we've had a number of sales to get that out and to get it off our insurance roll. So we're being very proactive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Squire Whitson.
Judge, Amy, can we walk us through the changes in the revenues on the spreadsheet, the changes since our last meeting? I think we've kind of made it through, well, actually, the only one that I have questions on is about the Peaks Mill payment on 424. Did that come in just more than an estimated $14,000 change?
Oh, they did a draw.
Okay.
And when the previous budget, that draw was not in there, so I wanted to reduce that carryover.
Thank you. And then the revenues, the opioid settlement, the $184,000 change, you mentioned that we had got a settlement in, but assume that's the amount of the check.
Yes,
that
we
got.
received a settlement that was deposited last week. And so I wanted to carry that over. The county road,
The county road aid came in better than we expected.
slightly, but we have that contract that will come before you soon. And then, of course, the AOC that we just went over.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify those.
Squire Dykes.
This may not be the right time, I don't know. If it isn't, just tell me to hush. We were supposed to put, I think, on an agenda, the opioid settlement money and the transportation, like the $5,000 transportation thing we're doing for kids.
We haven't done it yet, so.
We have not done that.
Yeah, we just do it on a next court meeting or
Okay.
something.
I just
We never
wanted-
got
I want to
the
remind-
information or whatever.
We did, we have it.
Oh, we do?
So
Okay, yeah.
it's all done, but we need to bring it before
Just
the court.
remind,
I'm
that's fine.
just reminding you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. All righty. Thank you, Amy. Treasurer's report. Anybody have any questions for Amy on the treasurer's report?
If I can just give you, a lot has changed even since I've done this report. We have met our real property taxes, we have collected more there. We've met payroll tax, and we've also met the insurance premium tax, the budgeted. Those are the three big revenue sources for the county, and we have met those budget and gone over. So I'll have our final amendment at our next court, because we have had some expenses that have gone over. So I'll be amending some of that in to cover those expenses.
Questions for Amy on treasurer's report? All righty. Amy, thank you very much. All righty. Payment of claims. Does anybody have any questions for Kim on payment of claims? Squire Wisman?
Judge, related, we'd had a conversation about paying off that mower that we're leasing, payment for the parks, because there was a potential to have 3 or 4% savings in interest if we went ahead and paid it off. We didn't make a decision on that. We were going to
Here comes
revisit it
Amy. I
tonight.
think we
noticed
talked about it in
here.
the finance committee, right, Amy? Can you
We didn't as a
speak on
body,
that?
but
So, and I forgot to point this out, I don't know if you saw that or not, in your budget, the very last page, there is the liabilities, and it lists each liability. That mower is at 4.99%, so, I'll let you all decide on that. I budgeted for us just to carry that over and keep making the payments. We're earning slightly more than that in cash. I would recommend just keeping it on. Now, if we get to the point where those interest rates drop, then we could look into it.
The comment last time was we weren't sure what the interest rates were when I brought it up, and the thought was we had a slight savings if we paid it off, but you're telling me it's reversed, so I'm
For
fine
right
to
now.
leave it that way. Then.
Good question, Squire. Squire Sebastian?
Thank you, Judge. Item 015001569. It's a conference training. There's a conference on Grammarly, or is that a subscription that you're getting for Grammarly?
It's a subscription.
Grammarly?
I know past HR position used it to help with Grammarly. I use the free version. Several other people use it.
Are you using Grammarly?
So it's, yeah.
Have we paid for it? Is this something you're not going to use? Is there anything?
It went on the Visa, yes.
Can we just make it clear?
Not paying that again.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for Kim?
Yeah, Judge.
Go ahead, Squire, what's this?
In our reoccurring expenses, there's a fire dues for West Banco, 099400.041. I'm not sure what that is.
That's hilarious.
It's a payroll liability.
Okay.
Do you want to address what it is, the fire dues? It comes out of their paycheck. We turn right around and pay that out.
But it looks like it's going to West Banco, or is it from West Banco? I'm not sure.
They house that account.
Okay.
So we do the
Okay.
check, take it down there and deposit into that account.
First time I'd seen it or noticed seeing it, so
It's a monthly.
It's always there.
I just had not picked it up before.
Okay, I'm just going to say something about Grammarly quickly. I really don't want grammar issues coming out of the county. So if there's anybody that feels like they really need Grammarly,
Yeah, we'll take a poll, but
can
I'm
you
not
can you
sure.
look at it
Yeah.
and just let them get the free version or something? But really,
Yeah.
a lot of people really need Grammarly, I have found.
Okay. All right, we'll take a survey. Alrighty, seeing nothing else, authorization to go into closed session per KRS 61.8101F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We are in closed session, please. session. This is our May 8th, 2024 voting session. Clerk, please call roll, and magistrates, please turn your mics on. Thank you.
Squire Sebastian.
Here.
Squire Blackburn.
Present.
Squire Dykus.
Here.
Squire Harold. Harrod.
Here.
Squire Tanner.
Here.
Squire Wisman.
Present.
Judge Mueller.
Present. Authorization for approval of minutes from regular meeting of April 24th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to award a bid to Tailored Services, sole bidder for janitorial services.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the filing of an application to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, transportation of non-public school students grants program.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that, Clerk?
Who motioned?
Mr. Harris, Squire Harrod.
What do you do?
All righty. All in favor say aye. We did it? Yeah, we did. Opposed?
Got it.
No, all right. Motion passes. That's good. Work with me. All right, authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the approval of an agreement with the Council of Aging to fulfill the requirements of 910 KRA 1170 with the changes made.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Next item is going to be tabled until our next meeting, and we ask that anybody who has any input on that make an appointment with Ben so we can get that work through. Thank you. Authorization for the judge executive to sign the court facilities local government reimbursement form.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve budget transfers for fiscal year 2023 to 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve annual standing order pre-approving certain reoccurring expenses.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. First reading of ordinance related to the budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. No vote will be taken at this time. Authorization to receive treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Payment of claims. Does anybody not want to pay the claims? Seeing nobody has motion, claims will be paid. Authorization to hire Brody Eastman as a seasonal park employee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to adjourn.
Judge, if I might quickly, I wanted to offer a motion to enter the discussions of the work session into the record formally. I think we just need to start putting those formally into the record each time.
Yeah, special meeting now.
It's still part of the actions of this. We were in a work session.
I'll lean on you, Mr. County Attorney.
I offered a motion if there's a second or it can fail. But
Since we are past the work session and we're in a special meeting, I got some questions about that, but probably I'll just make them to the county attorney after this meeting's over because it's not going to affect the outcome of that.
Okay.
I'm not, can you say it again for me?
we continually make some directives in the work session. Like today, we said we're going to table the comp plan
Right.
and provide feedback directly to our interim planning director. We're not recording that anywhere. So it's not an official action by the court. In my mind, it's not recorded as an official action. So I think that one specifically, we need to record that in the minutes. So I thought the easiest way would just to make the motion at the end of the work session to record those activities of the work session into the record by reference of our minutes. And
That will be in the minutes
could-
because it'll show table.
We probably
That'll
should,
show
when you
table.
come up to the item, we could have made a motion to
But not the
table it until
directive.
the next thing. That's probably, we should have done that. Do you want the record?
I'm just-
There
I'm
should
gonna
be
keep-
a motion to table the voting on the goals and objectives. So that
Okay. So,
table it to a,
Yeah, she'll take
to
it.
a date, a meeting certain, if it's the next meeting, or however the court wants to do
Okay.
that. But there should be,
so I'll go back to that one then, right? Is that
Yes.
okay? So, authorization to approve a resolution approving the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan in accordance with KRS 100.193.
Judge, I make a motion, we table that until next meeting.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
I'll rescind my motion then.
Okay. Alrighty. Authorization to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. We're adjourned. Thank
Just
you.
like